again to another instalment in the interviews with the experts, however we might like to call it. And I tell you what, they don't come any more expert and really legendary in the real estate field than Mr. Tom Panos, mate. Thanks for hanging out for a bit.
Thank you, Glenn.
Mate, we've just seen you come off stage, and mate, some of those key takeaways, mate. There would have been people with tears, with inspiration. You know, I can imagine the feedback you get when you come off. Can we run through some of those highlights? Do you think, for the benefit of those who couldn't be here?
Yeah. Awesome. So it's always, start off with, it's always good to get good feedback. I don't, the strange thing is, Glenn, I don't, like 2 years ago, I used to value it a lot. And then you get people that don't like you, and I used to value that a lot as well. But as time has gone by, I've got to the stage where I'm a little bit immune too much about what other people like. I've got a message. I've got a message. This is who I stand for, and it's really good because it qualifies who is going to think along the lines and who's going to be a follower in my in the way that I think and in my tribe. And it's good because trying to be a cardboard copy and trying to please everyone is really, really hard, and it's actually a very bad way to live your life because outsourcing your happiness to other people means that you're always trying to please others, which you've got no control about. But I like it when people enjoy the content. Today, the things that were fresh in my mind that I really felt really, really important was the fact that having an attitude of gratitude.
And that started from a pretty nasty journey that a few people might be familiar with. But, the way you put it, that it took, that incident where you mentioned that sometimes the biggest gifts come in very strange packaging. For those who maybe haven't, just give us the short version of that.
So the short version is cancer for a couple of years, unresponsive to treatment, then moved into advanced treatment, which worked, and it was 5 or 6 hard years. And I used a slide there to explain that some of the best gifts come badly wrapped. Whether it's a divorce, being ripped off, in a business partnership, or having the death of someone. But the truth is that events happen, and events are basically data. They're data that you get information about how you should live your life better. People catastrophize with bad things. I don't have that much of a bad day. I have days that I get data, which means I change the direction I'm going to take. But I will say that that cancer incident means that I ripped up my life and started afresh. And I begin every day knowing that there's not an endless number of tomorrows left. I begin each day having an attitude of gratitude. I begin each day knowing that I don't want to be sitting in that chemo chair at age 80, having a life of regrets. So I use a process of reverse engineering, which is essentially start at 80 and work backwards and say, how do I want to live my life? And then when you work backwards, you begin to realise, how do I want those last hours for me to reflect on my life? Did I do the things I want? Did I live an authentic life? Did I, in fact, sell myself short? Did I actually work a job I hated to make money that I didn't need to impress people I didn't care about? Was that the path I went down,
Yeah, well put.
Yeah, so I think it's an opportunity for you to be really clear and authentic with your life. So having an attitude of gratitude. The second thing, Glenn, is so important to actually understand that sales is about feelings, right?
Definitely.
People forget what you say, but they never forget how you make them feel.
Yep, definitely.
I also like to say it's about relationships, but by far the most important relationship you'll ever have in your life is a relationship with your mind.
And that's got to be the toughest one ever, I know a lot of my crew were looking forward to you and I getting together because of some of the similarities that we've got in the way we think about those sorts of things. I mean, for me, it's always a constant battle given my upbringing being different. I was, an Ipswich boy, and so, but then I've figured out lessons from blokes like yourself, and I love the fact that what you went through, kind of, if we can really embrace it and somehow if we can touch that much of the feeling that you must have experienced during those harder days when you were told that, maybe we don't have to experience it to learn the lessons that you
Yeah, so there are things, and I mean, I constantly have friends and family say to me, Tom, you're lucky you got a gift, and I wish that we're able to look at life with the same set of eyes. My response is, it is a gift. I mean, I wish I hadn't gone through everything I had to. I wish I could think this way without going through all of that.
Yeah.
I do think that there's a couple of things that you can do that can actually give you an instant shift. Number one is to actually sit down and visualize that you're just about to die. It's your final day. And it's good to actually pretend that it's your final day, because if you don't act and live as if it's your final day, one of the things is one day you're going to be right. It is going to be the final day. So it sort of makes sense to live each day. The second thing is to actually, it's a very useful thing to go hang around chemo ward for a few hours. Because as you sit there and you watch and you reflect, what actually happens, Glenn, is you walk out thinking to yourself, this listing I've missed out on, this argument that I'm having with that other salesperson in this office, this me feeling unenergetic today, all of a sudden you walk out saying, I don't have any problems. So that is very useful, but probably the most important thing that I find is feeding my mind, because generally speaking, we live in a world of toxicity. Media, marketers, advertisers, people around us, misery loves company, negativity, criticism, gossiping, and the ability to actually read books, listen to audio books, listen to great podcasts, your content material that you get to hear from other people, feeds people's minds and feeds a thought. And only one thought can change it. I mean, an iPod has changed the world. A couple of guys that thought creating a better search engine like Google has changed the world. You're only a thought away from something special, and by feeding your mind positive content, you're improving the probability of having creativity enter your thought processes and allowing you to see things from a position of possibility, not probability.
I loved that statement. That was one of the things I definitely wrote down. What a great... Did you coin that one?
Well, I tell you what, I read so much, I listen to so much that it's a strange thing that on stage, things just come like, it's like a deposit in your bank account. And they just come up. You're the same, aren't you?
5,000 hours of stuff in your brain. Stuff comes out.
Well, that's, it's interesting because you talk about 5,000 hours. I've got to tell you, the research is very clear that to become an expert in a field requires 10,000 hours of deliberate practice.
I saw that on your pod and I on your Twitter feed, I think I said, well, Tom, I'm halfway there, mate.
Halfway there. I mean, 10,000 hours. You do a great job, but 5,000 hours later, you're doing a better job than what you were doing when you first started.
Definitely.
Right. So, and someone said to me, even yesterday, they said to me, Tom, you charge $440 to do 1 minute's work here at this auction. And I just looked at him and I said, mate, it's taken me 15 years to get that in 1 minute.
Beautiful. You're right. Yeah. That's it. It's like, before real estate, my job was a guitar player. That's what I used to do. And compared to what I used to earn at Ipswich as a Woolies bloke, I'd get $400 or $500 to play guitar for 4 hours and have a drink. Really enviable. But then they didn't see the 10 years of practice to get the fingers to be able to do that thing.
Correct. And that is, we have to understand that good things take time. Bad things happen in an instant. You know what I mean? The plane crash, the bad diagnosis, they happen in an instant. Good things take time. The growing of a business. Warren Buffett says it, you invest money in the right quality shares and just sit there. Time and patience and good decisions just grow. So I also, talk in every one of my presentations is about this model of the attraction agent.
Well, that's what, there's people in my crew that you would have seen in my marketing, and I quote it all the time, things like, and I've heard you quote it about Purple Cow, about standing out, about becoming that standout person that gravitates people to you. So yeah, I know a lot of people have looked forward to our conversation about the attraction agent, about becoming that Purple Cow.
Yeah, so Seth Godin's a great marketer, blogger, author, speaker. He's a good guy to Google and get his content. What this is whole about is that there's an oversupply of real estate people for the amount of business. And generally speaking, 3 people going to a listing presentation. First one shit, second one shit, third one shit. They turn around and say, "We pick the cheapest of the shit."
I love the way you put that. Yep.
So this whole goal in real estate is, firstly, don't be shit, right?
There's your book. Tom Panos, don't be shit.
Don't be shit. Don't be shit means that you've got the best chance. But on a realistic perspective, what you've got to be is the tallest building in a busy city. You've got to be the tallest building in a busy city, because the city's busy and you've got to stand out like a tall building. And in real estate, you know what it's like, Glenn. You're a social media heavy user. You put out a lot of content out there. I'm the same. Foxtel, TV, newspapers, media messages. On your phone, you get Twitter, notifications, SMS, emails. On TV, you're watching TV, you get messages coming. Everyone is fighting for everyone's attention.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, unless you become a purple cow, which is stand out from the rest of the cows, you become invisible.
Yeah.
That's what that message is all about. And in real estate, where the average agent is making $59,000 a year gross around Australia, unless you become that purple cow, you won't stand out, and what will happen is that you'll be one of those people that makes 59. So the attraction agent is about becoming so visible that they're talking about you when you're not in the room. That is what the attraction agent's all about. The attraction agent is about being their agent before they need an agent.
Yep.
The attraction agent is about the agent who, for some reason, gets called in at all the listing presentations of sellers that are selling, and then has an opportunity to get them. The transactional agent is more about exerting, a lot of pushing. And that's fine to do in the early stages. It's bad to do every day for 20 years. It's tiring.
Yeah, understood.
So brand, to me, is critical, and everything you do is either building or destroying brand equity in you. Your clothes, the way you speak, your behaviour, all is building brand equity in you, and it's so important to have your audio match your video, which is what you say, and the way you carry yourself is exactly the same, because that is the personality of your brand. You know? And we all have a brand in real estate. We might work for, White's, McGrath, Bell, what have you. I should mention all of them because everyone gets a shit. You get the drift.
All of them. Yep.
All of them.
Yeah.
But what happens, Glenn, is that you need to you need to understand that you are a brand within a brand. James Tostervin is James Tostervin before he is Marshall White.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And all we're saying is that you've got to understand that you've got to make the decision to be the CEO of your brand, because there's no one else going to do that.
That's right, yeah. A lot of my guys, maybe not struggle, but this is the eternal question I'm going to put to you from your very unique, like you've bought into this concept and everyone can see that. How can an agent go from their indoctrination into we must be professional, we must conform, we must wear a suit, we must look corporate uniform, we must use corporate branding standards, we must be uniform in order to have brand consistency? How does that fit in with the uniqueness of being a big, bright purple cow that's one of a kind?
That's an interesting question, because from a young age, we're actually told that by teachers that this is how you'll do things. Your friends want you to conform. Your colleagues want you to conform. So essentially what they want to say is, we don't want you to be you, you become one of us. My view is that there are 7 billion people on this planet, but there's only one you. So it makes sense that you are the best you versus being a second or third best copy of another group or tribe. My preference, without doubt, is, and look, I'm an example of that. I mean, if you see me at work, I probably don't dress as the typical news person. I wear a lot of shirts, no ties. Today I'm at this conference, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I think everyone got dressed up more, but it was a super hot day.
Yeah, it was.
I basically, I've made a decision to be a purple cow in my industry. So I work in print, I use social media. I repurpose and talk one-to-many. I use that as part of my strategy, seminars, talking to people. My view, the long way around it, Glenn, is that you're better off being different and being you, but that does not mean that you're going to go to your franchise group and rip up your
corporate standards or
corporate
whatever.
standards, right? If it means so much to you, maybe you shouldn't be in the franchise group in the first place, right? If you can't handle the office and the way that it operates and it keeps you up at night and it's a thing that holds you up at night, maybe the thing that's going to help you get sleep again and live your best life is change.
Yeah, for sure. Well put, mate, and you've seen some great examples. Who are some of the great examples you've seen? Again, many of whom you've interviewed. You've interviewed these purple cow attraction magnetic agents. Who are some of the examples and what are they doing that maybe the 59,000 guy isn't? And there's our subtle plug. Go to tompanos.com.au because you've got like 8 hours of content of what these guys do see. And, because as we've just found out, Tom's remunerated by News Limited. He doesn't need us to buy his stuff, so you're giving this stuff away, making me look bad, mate. I charge for this stuff.
Well, you've got to charge, but I mean, the whole issue is that there's a message that comes through my content.
Definitely,
and
mate.
At the end of the day, my content is about brand and vendor paid advertising. So I've clearly seen that people that are good use a lot of media, print, online, signboards. They do things differently, right? So that's the first thing. I would probably say examples, they're right around the country and they're in franchises and they're not in franchises, I mean, everyone talks about McGrath's, and McGrath's is one of News Limited's biggest clients, right? So McGrath is without doubt a purple cow.
And our mutual mate Matt Steinway from the McGrath. I mean, how amazing is that man?
Amazing. So he's a purple cow, so I don't want to name names because what happens is you miss people.
Apologies to everyone I've missed, but
the issue, but the common theme that I notice about these people is that they're good at getting VPA. They're very good at having crucial conversations with vendors.
That's what a vendor needs to hear as opposed to maybe what they want to hear?
Correct. Yeah? Correct. The third thing, Glenn, is that they worry less about the proceeds and worry more about the process because commission is simply a byproduct of doing great business development work, great vendor management, great listing presentations, good buyer management, good database work, and good marketing. That's the process. The proceeds is the commission. You look after the process, the proceeds come. And that's exciting because if you keep your focus on the controllables, which you can control all those things, the money will come.
The money will come. Beautiful. Well, for those folks who've stuck out to the end of the interview, can I just get, if I may, ask and extend the friendship a little bit further? When you ripped on some of those dialogues and you said to some of those folks, because I love the conceptual stuff. In fact, there's probably very little need there's so much abundance of guys like Michael Sheargold, of guys like James Tostman, Matt Steinway, Chris Gilmore. I humbly put myself in that group and I'm honoured to have been here with you guys today. But that you went on a rant of a couple of dialogues that were just ripper. Mr. or Mrs. Vendor X. Can you give my crew some of those magic words that you gave us?
Absolutely. Okay, so let's fire away. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, your home is on the market in competition, not in isolation. And in a buyer's market, I need to make you shine. And the way I'm going to make you shine is to have your home better presented, have your home better priced, and have your home better marketed. Allow me to execute that. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I can give you a marketing plan that's going to make you happy or a marketing plan that's going to get you the highest price. Which of the two would you like?
Beautiful.
Another very, very good dialogue is when you're talking to buyers who are trying to buy at the bottom of the market, you say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's the deal. The only way that you know the market has bottomed is when the market's gone up, because what happens is you look backwards and say that was the bottom back then. But by that stage, it's too late because you'll be paying more than the bottom. So that's not a good strategy to have. Apart from that, when the market starts going up, what actually happens is there's less listings to pick from. So apart from paying more money and apart from having less homes to pick from, you've also got a third thing, and that is that the Reserve Bank raises interest rates. So when the market starts going up, let's go over them again. You pay more money, there's less homes to pick from, and you pay a higher interest rate. So I'd like to ask you a question, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Are you going to buy a home for your family based on the market or based on your life? Another very, very good dialogue to use with vendors is, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, yes, I understand that you just want to sort of, whack it on the net or put it on the database and let's do a special preview inspection and see if we can sell it on the first day. But are you looking for the first buyer or are you looking for the best buyer? Because there's a big difference. Another very good, powerful script and dialogue is, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, launching your listing on the market is no different to the way a company launches a new product on the market. When Coca-Cola launches a house on the market, they would actually tell the whole world about it. They wouldn't just passively just bring it on and tell no one. And what I'd like to do is do the same thing. Have compressed marketing, let the whole world know about it. In fact, what I want to do, let's outmarket the competition. And there's Glenn, there's on my site, there's about 50 scripts and dialogues.
Nice.
So they can just print them off.
Beautiful. Well, guys, that is tompanos.com.au. And if you don't know or aren't connected with Tom, I'd be stunned because the man masterfully uses social media, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and his email list. So I'd urge you. There's an email opt-in, I'm assuming.
There's an email opt-in. So I've got Susan that's just with us right behind us here. Susan Zeng, she does all my social media. She runs my blog and she posts messages. In many ways, I think I'm a social media real estate coach. I just send out 4 or 5 messages. So if they can come onto the blog, opt in, it's great to have a relationship with an audience.
Beautiful. So, folks, the highest endorsement I think I could ever make on a value for money basis, it doesn't get any better and it makes me look bad, damn it. But it's been an honour to hang out with the great Tom Panos. And more importantly, I'd actually urge you, if you can get a copy of the recordings of today at the Sales Summit, the inaugural Michael Shiegold hosted Real Estate Sales Summit down here in Sydney, Tom's talk was inspirational. So grab yourself a copy of the recordings. And, mate, on behalf of my crew, mate, my eternal thanks for spending this time with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, no worries. Thanks, guys. Until next time, when we get another amazing guest like Tom, we'll see you next time, folks. Bye for now.